Hey everyone, and welcome back to Ultra Business Insight. Today we're diving into the world of organ transplantation.
Oh, wow. That's a fascinating area.
It is, and it's a massive market too, valued at about $10 billion globally.
10 billion, huh?
Yeah, and there's this one company, Transmedics, that's really caught my attention.
Transmedics.
They've got this really unique approach with their innovative organ care system. They call it the OCS. And they've also got this incredible integrated logistics system, which we'll definitely talk about later. So to help us break it all down, we've got Sophia here, a specialist in the field.
Great to be here.
So, when we talk about Transmedics and their competitive edge, it all seems to start with this OCS technology. So can you maybe walk us through how it actually works? Like what makes it so different from the traditional way organs are preserved?
Sure. For years, organ preservation has relied on cold storage. So basically, you're trying to slow down the organ's metabolism by keeping it cold.
Yeah, just keeping it on ice, right?
Exactly. But the problem is that can actually damage the organ, and it limits how far you can transport it.
Oh, right. Makes sense.
Transmedics OCS does something totally different. It uses warm perfusion technology.
Warm perfusion. So what's that then?
Well, think of it this way. The OCS kind of mimics the human body.
Oh, interesting.
It circulates a special solution through the organ, keeping it warm and functioning, just like it was still inside the donor.
So like a mobile ICU for the organ.
Exactly, you got it.
Wow, that's pretty amazing.
Uh,
So instead of just trying to preserve the organ, they're actually like keeping it active.
It's pretty incredible.
Yeah. I bet that makes a huge difference, not just for transport, but for the whole transplant process.
You're absolutely right. Warm perfusion lets organs be transported further, and it even helps doctors assess the organ's viability before the transplant.
So that's a game changer, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It means more organs are suitable for transplant, and that ultimately saves more lives.
Sophia, I bet a lot of our listeners have never even heard of warm perfusion. It's mind-blowing to think that this technology exists.
It really is groundbreaking. And what's even more impressive, Transmedics is the only company with an FDA-approved multi-organ platform that uses this technology.
Really? The only one?
Yeah, they've got systems for hearts, lungs, and livers, all cleared for use here in the U.S. That gives them a huge advantage, wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah, a huge advantage. So they're really ahead of the game on this. Now let's talk about how this tech stacks up against their competition.
They really are way ahead. And it's not just about having the technology, it's about having the best systems out there.
Right, right. So who are their main competitors?
Yeah.
Well, what other companies are out there and how do their technologies stack up against the OCS?
Well, there are a few key players like Vivo, Organox, and Getinge, but none of them can really match what Transmedics is doing.
Can you give us a rundown of those companies where they stand compared to Transmedics?
Sure. So you've got Vigo, a Swedish company. They're mainly focused on kidneys.
Okay.
That's actually an area Transmedics doesn't even compete in right now.
Interesting.
VVO, they do have a liver system, but it's only good for about 6 hours of viability compared to the 24 hours you get with Transmedics OCS.
Huh. So not really a direct competitor then.
Not really, no. Then you've got Organox, a UK company. They specialize in warm perfusion for livers, but they don't actually have their own perfusion solutions, which puts them at a disadvantage.
Oh, I see.
They're trying to catch up on the logistics side, though, by partnering with Blade Air Mobility for air transport.
So still trying to replicate that aviation division, huh?
Yeah, it seems like it, but it's not as integrated as Transmedics system.
Makes sense. What about this Getinge company? Are they in the warm perfusion game too?
Getting Shelf, also Swedish, they focus more on cold storage solutions. They acquired Paragonix a while back, which is mainly cold storage.
Right.
But, cold storage just can't compete with warm perfusion, especially for these DCD transplants that are becoming more and more common.
DCD transplants, can you tell us a bit more about those? What makes them so different?
Sure. DCD transplants, that's donation after circulatory death. So these are organs from donors who've suffered cardiac death, not brain death.
Okay.
Warm perfusion is really essential for those transplants because it allows the organs to be revived and evaluated before they're transplanted.
So Transmedics is leading the way there.
Absolutely. They're really at the forefront of DCD transplants, and that gives them another competitive edge.
Right, right. So not only is their technology better, but they're also addressing these new developments in the transplant world.
Exactly. And here's another interesting thing. There was a recent quarter, which was actually a seasonally weak period for organ transplants.
Right.
But even then, Transmedics still outperformed their competitors, so they've got a very resilient business model, and they're really good at capturing market share even when transplant volumes are down.
Wow, so they're consistently outperforming the competition, they're pushing the boundaries with technology, and they're addressing emerging needs in the market. That's impressive.
It is. But there's another piece to their success: their integrated logistics system.
All right, let's talk about that. You mentioned this national OCS program and their own aviation division, Summit Aviation, a medical tech company with its own fleet of planes. That's not something you see every day.
Yeah, it is pretty remarkable. So their national OCS program, it basically provides a complete solution for transplant centers, right?
Yeah, it's like a turnkey solution.
It covers everything.
Pretty much. It covers organ procurement and evaluation, transport, the transplantation itself, and they've got a 247 logistics team, and of course that dedicated air transport.
They're not reliant on third-party logistics anymore, which can be, really expensive and unpredictable.
So they're cutting out the middleman, streamlining the process.
Exactly. And it's not just about saving money, it's about using resources in the best way possible, which is really important with organ transplantation.
Right, yeah. Every minute counts.
Exactly. Delays can be, the difference between a successful transplant and a tragic loss. So by having control of the logistics, Transmedics can minimize those risks and make sure that organs are transported as quickly and efficiently as possible.
And that means better outcomes for patients, right?
Absolutely. It's a win-win for everyone. Transmedics has a more efficient and cost-effective system, transplant centers get a reliable service, and patients have a better chance of receiving a life-saving organ.
Sophia, this has been a really eye-opening conversation. I feel like we just scratched the surface of what Transmedics is doing, but you've given us a great overview of their approach and why they're leading the pack. Thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure. It's always great to talk about the amazing progress happening in this field.
And for our listeners, if you want to learn more about Transmedics, check out Atona Partners' website. They've got a lot of information on Transmedics and other innovative companies in the bionics sector. It's a fascinating world out there. So until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and thanks for joining us on Ultra Business Insight.